House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 1, A Son for a Son, The Red Wedding of the Dance of the Dragons. I know I'm pretty late on this one, but you guys have all seen the discourse online. The fan base is divided, and we have a lot to say about this one. But let's start up with the brand new opening, which is far superior to the one from Season 1. In Season 1, you had the original Game of Thrones theme, which continues here. But in terms of a visual element, you had some sort of Targaryen family tree with blood falling down. And as the characters were killed off or new characters were born, it would change. For Season 2, we have a similar idea with the Targaryen family history. But this time it's told through a tapestry. From the Doom of Valyria, Aegon's conquest, Maegor the Cruel, Old King Jaehaerys, and the Council of 101, all the way up to the Dance of the Dragons. All the players are there, and you can see iconic events, such as when Aemond and Vhagar killed Luke and Arrax. And I suppose that means more events are to come. As we get further down the series, we'll see more and more. I like this. It's better than Season 1, but nothing will ever top the original map of Westeros from Game of Thrones. And speaking of Westeros, we actually travel north into Winterfell and the Wall. Only for a short time, but we do get brand new information, new lore, and new characters. Because remember in Season 1, Rhaenyra sent her son Jace to gather the support of the Vale, which he's already done, and the North. And we get to see the Lord of Winterfell, Warden of the North, Cregan Stark, who is a man of honour, and he upholds the Stark's oath to Viserys and Rhaenyra. And he will send 2,000 Greybeards down, who are men far too old to last another winter up north. So they're going to go down south to fight and even die. And I think the scene of the Wall was by far my favourite scene in the entire episode. Emotion run wild when we heard the Stark theme and returned to the Wall. In the books, there's nothing about a Winterfell lottery to go to the Wall. Torrhen Stark didn't bend the knee to Aegon the Conqueror at the Wall. Jace and Cregan Stark never met here. And the old King Jaehaerys and Vermithor were not at the Wall. It was just Alysanne and Silverwing that refused to go beyond it. But I think this is to emphasise the Stark's duty to protect the North from what's out there, from the others, and how that links to Aegon Targaryen's prophecy. And I suppose at some point Rhaenyra will have to pass on the message of Aegon's dream to him, and then he'll fully understand. And I suppose we could see some sort of White Walker tease later down the line, maybe this season or next, but I don't think they should go full on winking at the camera, bringing in the Night King, because they're not really an important part of the dance. The show has added more by bringing in Aegon's prophecy, but they should always be a warning to come. This episode's main purpose was the aftermath of Luke's death. Everybody's reaction to that event. It seems like the Greens do have concerns. Otto and Alicent are doing their best through political measures. Aemond and Aegon, however, are just brushing off. They kind of feel far too powerful, especially with Vhagar. And by the end of the episode, that kind of bites them in the ass, because they were expecting dragon attacks, not knives in the dark. And as for the Blacks, Rhaenyra only says 4 words this episode. I want Aemond Targaryen. So what does Dark Daemon do? He hires 2 assassins, Blood and Cheese. And their job is to bring her the head of Aemond Targaryen, a son for a son. Well, they can't find Aemond, can they? So they do the next best thing. Kill a poor, harmless, helpless, innocent little boy, Prince Jaehaerys. Which of course will definitely get a reaction out of Aegon, who will be out for revenge, and will force the dragons into the skies. And as for Daemon, I don't think we heard what he said when he's asked if we couldn't find Aemond. So I suppose he's going to be seen as the monster. And so will Rhaenyra. I imagine the Greens will spin this, that it was all up to her. But I imagine she's going to feel something towards Daemon here. She's a mother who's just lost her son. And I think this will start to cause a divide between them. He's currently at Dragonstone, taking her place while she's off grieving, looking for her son. But he wants to go to Harrenhal and start to bend knees. Perhaps he'll get his wish. I could totally see Rhaenyra not being able to look Daemon in the eye after this. And as for Aegon, he was a lot better this episode. He's very green, excuse the pun, perhaps a useless king. We can see him being schooled by Otto Hightower for the importance of the flocks for the dragon, the cost of iron, and other sacrifices of war. But I liked where they're going with the character this time around, because in Season 1 you had him a rapist, horrible person that would enjoy child fights, including his own bastard. He was just a sick man. And all the promo this year's been about the Greens versus the Blacks, choose your side. but it's impossible to root for a monster. But I think they've done a better job making him not a likeable character, but just a better character. One you could at least show some sympathy for. Somewhere in the grey zone, but I think it might be too little too late. And I suppose the death of his heir will make him a lot worse. And as for the other Greens, Alicent and Criston Cole, the new words of House Cole, fuck the Hightowers. That's all we got to say about that. We see him go down on her, and they're caught in bed during Blood and Cheese. So that makes Alicent and Cole the two biggest hypocrites in the realm for their behaviour towards Rhaenyra. I'm not exactly sure where this change came from. I don't think it's at all in the books. But I kind of get what they're trying to do. We just have to see how it plays out. And I suppose Helaena walking in on them means it's no longer a secret. Not that it will be a secret, because how many secrets remain in the Red Keep? Larys Strong has basically replaced all of Alicent's staff with his own people, so he knows all her secrets. And I suppose he'll use this for leverage against her. As long as we don't see any more foot fetish scenes, we don't need to see that. Yes, Blood and Cheese, the major discourse. There's a lot of changes here. Who is present, how it happens. In the books, Alicent is in the room at the time and she's threatened by the assassins, and Helaena is given the choice for which son to die. Because in the books, Aegon has another son, Maelor, but I don't think he exists in the show right now. I suppose Helaena could be pregnant, but in the books, there is a second son, whereas in the show it just seems like there's the two twins, and Helaena has to point out her son, Aegon's heir. And this, like I said, is the major discourse in the fandom. We agree it's a very violent scene, but it's definitely toned down compared to the book quite a bit. And to be honest, I'm okay with this. It's a fair change. It's 2024, violence on TV, especially towards women and children, has become less prominent. Just look at the nudity levels. If this was Game of Thrones, you would have seen Alicent get her cheeks clapped, you'd have seen a lot more. You might even see some sort of brutality towards the child. But I think the violence was just enough. And the sound effects were horrific. It was leaving it up to your imagination. But I understand at the same time where some people are coming from when the character of Helena's been changed. They've made her a dragon dreamer in the book, and that affects her emotionally and psychologically. I believe the phrase is neurodivergent. That's what they're playing off here. And these dreams that she has are almost foreshadowing. Like, she dreamed or had visions of some sort of rats, and she was scared of them. And obviously, Blood and Cheese, the rat catchers. But yes, Blood and Cheese, far from perfect. Sound effects, horrific. Oh, it just makes your skin crawl, makes your teeth chatter. But I agree, we didn't have to witness any death, especially of children. And you can argue about Helena's weak reaction, not offering her own life, pointing out her son so easily, only offering a necklace, not screaming, whatever, looking for guards. But she's not a fully functioning person. She has her issues. And that kind of makes her unique. She's actually one of the Greens you support. She's another victim in all this. But I will say it is inferior to the book version. But I do appreciate that Helaena ran towards her mother, because no matter how old we become, if we become parents ourselves, we always want to go back to the place we know best, to a safe place. And for many of us, that's our mother. And motherhood is such an important theme in this show, in Game of Thrones, and in the entire Song of Ice and Fire books. And as for me, I think Rhaenyra was definitely a standout character. She said 4 words in the entire episode. I want Aemond Targaryen. Which is very similar to the same technique they used in Season 7, Episode 1, when Daenerys arrives at Dragonstone. We have all that build-up, a lot of facial acting, and then one line, shall we begin? It's a very powerful technique. I just hope they don't overuse it too much. But Rhaenyra, top quality this episode, searching for her son on the beach, and Syrax, who's the mother of Arrax, screams out in pain. It was hard to watch. But I think the top scene for me was when Jace returns to Dragonstone and tries to perform his duty, relays the news of his mission to his mother, but he breaks down in her arms. She breaks down as well. Like I said, the themes of motherhood so prominent, so powerful in this story. From Daenerys, Catelyn, Cersei, Jon Snow's mother, and now Alicent, Rhaenyra and Helaena. The TV show is a diluted version of the story. Not everything's perfect, but I think this was a strong opener for Season 2. A lot of us were expecting all-out war, but I'm glad they spent the first episode dealing with the aftermath of Luke's death on the slow build-up. But now, episode 2 will be the reaction to Blood and Cheese. It seems like both sides, apart from maybe Aemond and Daemon, are trying to avoid all-out dragon warfare, but after Blood and Cheese, there's no going back. But guys, let me know your thoughts on Season 2, Episode 1. Like I said, solid opener. I understand the discourse, I understand the divide caused by Blood and Cheese. Book version's far superior, but it's not a deal breaker for me. But at the same time, I don't think this is going to be one of the episodes that you go back and watch in isolation. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.